So we got to talk about Spellshot and why this character is absolutely way too broken and yes, does need to be nerfed. Now, I also say nerfed and kind of mean more just reorganized just because the skill tree and the class feed for this character is absolutely abusive. It's the only real multi-class option at this point. I've heard a lot of arguments of, we'll just buff everybody else up. Well, that doesn't really change the fact that this character's entire skill tree is absolutely insane and the best option for everybody. I mean, you could literally just do Spellshot, no multi-class at all, and it's still stronger than literally everybody else. What's going on, everybody? Byrdman here with another Wonderlands video. Today I'm going to be talking about why Spellshot is such an issue. This is genuinely a critique of the character that is clearly the best in the game right now, but at the same time, just because it's the best doesn't mean it is right. I just think that this character all around is way too strong right now and is totally killing all the incentivization to multi-class with other characters. That's not only just because of Spellshot's fault. I mean, there's a lot of other things in there that we'll talk about, but at least let's talk about the skill tree real fast, the class feed, and why the Spellshot power is way too much. All right, so when talking about Spellshot, we got to talk about the class feed Spell Weaving. Casting a spell, reloading grants Faymaker stack a Spell Weaving. Now, the Spell Weaving gives you extra spell damage, and they do decay after a little bit. If you do a repeating spell, you have a chance of getting even more stacks of it. The current effects of that read spell damage 10% per stack. Stack duration is 10 seconds, which to me is not a few seconds. I mean, 10 seconds is not, 10 seconds is a lot. Like, honestly, it is. It is not a few seconds. You can get up to 5 stacks, and that repeating cast chance is 25%. What would I instantly change about this? Take away the reloading part of it. What does reloading have to do with spells? I mean, it almost seems like a cop-out to just constantly have stacks going. So I think they need to completely take that out. They need to take down the duration of this to about 5 seconds. 10 seconds of spells is insane. And the fact that it's 10% per stack, base value of 5, that's 50% extra spell damage. That's kind of insane. I mean, especially with, like, we have spells like Arc Torrent or Ice Spike that are absolutely insane. It's a little too much. It really does need to be changed, and also the fact that spell power does scale with this. Now, let's take a quick second to go talk about spell power. Spellshot power reads spell weaving, spell damage per stack is increased by a certain percent. That certain percent is going to be whatever percentage you have within your class item or amulets or anything like that. That's just going to boost Spellshot power as is. It also gives Polymorph extra duration and Polymorph extra immune damage. Now, we'll talk about Polymorph here in a second, but we need to talk about that spell weaving stack right there. The fact that we're able to get plus 30% instead of plus 10% per stack of spell weaving for spell damage is stupid. I mean, absolutely stupid, because we have other pieces within our tree that are able to increase that timer. I just think that's, obscene. I think they really need to change the spell weaving spell damage part to ambidextrous spell cooldown instead. I think that would be a lot better. It'll blend better, and it'll honestly kind of nerf down spell weaving while at the same time making it relevant. But just having plus percentage per stack is abusive to the entire system. Looking at these two action skills, Polymorph, I really do like this one. I think it's pretty slept on. I've been using it on my Berserker Spellshot setup, because it's really fun. I really like just like making an enemy into a skeeb. It really reminds me of like Maya and her tree back in Borderlands 2. But whenever you shoot the skeeb, you have a chance to get extra spell weaving stacks and automatically just activate a free spell. And also if an enemy is immune, so let's say like a secret boss or like a final boss, something like that, instead it'll just do that damage to them. So again, that percentage is increased by your spell weaving Spellshot power, so it's able to get kind of insane. I mean, I'm able to just look at like maybe the Dragon Lord or something and just pop it at him and see a chunk of his health just go away for free, and it also activates a free spell while also giving me spell weaving stacks. I mean, this entire process is absolutely insane. And then we have to talk about ambidextrous. This needs nerf. Yes, person listening to this that likes Spellshot, this needs nerf, because whatever spells on the left-hand side is going to increase the one on the right-hand side. This is where the Buffmeister abuse is coming from. The Buffmeister is fine on its own. Like, it is a perfectly fine spell. It's a very well-thought-out spell, but the fact that it's abusable with ambidextrous needs to be changed. Like, this entire thing needs to be changed. It just needs to be base value for each of the spells. I mean, simple as that. It doesn't need to be boosting up the one on the right-hand side even more, especially for the fact that you're able to get an extra enchantment on there as well. So I just think it's a little silly that this is even around still. Looking at the tree itself, I mean, I'm just going to kind of quickly just burn down this, kind of talk about everything. Spell Sniper, Spell Crit Chance. on face value isn't too bad, but like it's also like one of the first perks. But I mean, you have to put 5 into it. Magic bullets, absolutely insane. I mean, the fact that the higher spell damage, the higher gun damage we're getting, essentially instantaneously turns Spellshot into a better gun character than gun characters like the Stabomancer. I mean, it's stupid. It's so stupid because I'm able to obviously boost my spell damage by an exorbitant amount because of spell weaving, and that's just going to transfer into gun damage as well. No, that's not all right. And it's 45%. I mean, 45% for 3 points is insane. So this needs to be cut down to maybe 20%. I mean, I damn near say 15, but 20% seems like an okay amount. But I mean, again, it's still crazy abusable just because of how spell weaving works. Then we go into a reload perk. Obviously, this is supposed to be for like the reloading, getting spell weaving stacks. I don't like this, but at the same time, it makes sense why they have it there. But I just, whatever. I don't really ever have to worry about going to this just because using spells and reloading on the base value is already enough. Looking down at font and mana, spell cooldown rate and action skill cooldown rates increase. I think this is a little much, even if it's a 5-pointer, just because you're taking 2 of the most important parts about a build, your spell cooldown rate and your action skill cooldown rate, and just totally just putting them into the same perk to boost them up. I think this needs to be separated, honestly. I think that top reloading needs to be like spell cooldown rate with reload, and then have a separate one be like action skill cooldown rate with like fire rate, something like that. We look into Mage Armor. Whenever Fate Maker gains a stack of spell weaving, a portion of their ward is restored. Kind of abusable. I mean, it just depends on how many stacks you have going on at that time and exactly what your build is. Just warming up, Fate Maker gains increased fire rate for every stack of spell weaving. On base value, doesn't look too much, but honestly, in a build, it can be kind of abusable just because you're able to get such high stacks of spell weaving. Going into Glass Cannon, again, one of those coup de grace abusable perks within the tree that is 1 point people don't think much about, but the fact that you no longer recharge your ward and you gain drastically increased spell damage is insane. This is where it really makes Spellshot probably the best multi-classing character, just because, I mean, you have classes like Berserker, Clawbringer, and Greyborn that have pretty good, you know, like tankiness to them, and essentially goes, okay, well, we're just gonna do high health for these characters, and then you just pick this and you get high spell damage. I mean, it's crazy. Now you can combo with Mage Armor if you want, but it's 30% on top of what we're already getting from our spell weaving is just insane to me. I just don't think it's all right. Looking at Imbued Weapon, whenever the Fate Maker casts a spell, their guns deal bonus damage of that spell's element for a duration. Bonus elements, just within the tree. Not okay, especially the fact that, like, let's say I'm using a liquid cooling and using an arc torrent spell. I'm getting arc on top of the liquid cooling, which is absolutely insane. I don't think that's all right. I mean, it's only 10% for 8 seconds, but again, it doesn't really take much to just activate another spell and have that keep on going and going and going. Then comes probably one of the more, again, usable perks in the entire tree, high thread count. It gives you extra stacks of spell weaving. Now the base value is 3, but I do have a class mod on that gives me an extra stack of this, so it goes up to 6. So right now, I have 11 stacks of spell weaving available. That is absolutely insane, especially on top of the fact that, again, Spellshot power increase every single one of those stacks. It's not okay. This making the class just abusable. I mean, it's insane that they even thought this was okay. Moving over to Warcaster, kill skill. Whenever the Fate Maker kills an enemy, there's a chance their currently equipped gun will be instantly reloaded. This chance is increased per stack of spell weaving. I've seen homies of mine, like Bad Karma, like not stop holding down the trigger on a gun because of this. I mean, it's a little silly. I think this is definitely one of the more silly perks within the tree, but at the same time, in the right hands, it is very abusable. Now, moving down to Double Knot, whenever the Fate Maker scores a critical hit with a spell, which, just look up here real quick, 60%. Okay, doesn't even go off the fact that you can get like an amulet or ring that has even higher percentage with that. They deal bonus damage, gun damage of the gun's element. Crazy. More bonus elements. We love it. 1 slot, 1 kill. The Fate Maker gains increased gun damage per stack of spell weaving. So right now I have 11 stacks available to me at 4% per stack, which makes it 44%. Not even talking about the fact that I'm getting even more gun damage up here based on my spell damage, which is based off of my spell weaving. I think you guys are getting the picture that this is a little kind of insane. And then finally, just like the crazy capstone, sever the thread. Gun critical hits have a chance to instantly reset all spell cooldowns. The skill has a short cooldown. It's only 5 seconds. 5 seconds is nothing. That's where like saying a short cooldown makes sense. Like that's short, but it's short in the bad way, in the fact that I'm able to constantly get my spells. I mean, I'm constantly able to get cold snaps. I'm constantly able to get arc torrents. Buffmeister activations, you guys get the point. I mean, especially if I'm running Ambihextrous, I mean, all I have to do is get one quick crit, and then all of a sudden I have 2 slots of spells just instantly full and ready to go. I mean, it's not okay. Now, looking at the skill tree, again, we've obviously already kind of figured out why all of this is just a little kind of wacky, but at the same time, some of the stuff isn't exactly Spellshot's fault. Melee is really not incentivized in this game. I mean, I just was able to create my first melee build for Clawbringer, which I'll be posting here in a couple days or so. I think it's really solid all around, but the fact that Spellshot is able to do air quotes melee, and by air quotes I mean use Spellblade, which actually does spell damage instead, and is able to just instantly melt bosses. I mean, I've seen my homie Chadley99, shout out Chadley, do it himself, and it's absolutely insane. And there's other issues, again, with the classes themselves. I mean, some things for all of them in regards to their class feat mixed in with their individual power just isn't the same as Spellshot and how abusive it is. Again, the Spellshot power going into every single stack of spell weaving is absolutely just mind-boggling. I mean, again, it's a really strong character. It's a really well-done character. I like using it, but at the same time, I like it so much that I just want to use it on everything because it makes every other character better. This was my original worry, honestly, when it came to doing the multi-classing for the game, just because I was kind of stressed out that we were going to have this exact issue where we were going to have one class that just was going to feel good for everybody. I originally thought it was going to be Stabomancer. I thought Stabo was going to be like that one size fits all, and it ended up being Spellshot instead. And it's kind of gross because you mean you can capstone with other classes and then like complement it with Spellshot, but all the power you're getting is still mainly from Spellshot. The way we fix this again is just reworking spell weaving, how it interacts. Take away the fact that reloading gives you a stack, lower the percentage of damage per stack, lower the time per stack. It's just absolutely insane. And take away the fact that Spellshot power will boost every single stack of spell weaving. Change that to maybe Ambihextrous spell cooldown instead. That makes a lot more sense to me. It kind of incentivizes that style of play, while at the same time, again, fixing Ambihextrous and how it interacts. I mean, it shouldn't be working the way it is right now. And again, I understand there's a lot of people who are like, don't nerf it because it's a PvE game. Again, it just doesn't change the fact that regardless if every other class and every other gun, everything else got brought up to the same kind of air quotes level, it's still the only real choice if you're wanting to do gun builds, do spell builds, do a partial melee build, do companion builds. I mean, it's the only real thing that you're seeing out there right now in regards to builds from other creators. I really just want the game to feel balanced. I want it to feel good. I want every class to feel incentivized. And right now, unfortunately, because of Spellshot and how it interacts, everyone else just isn't incentivized. This is obviously going to be something I don't think will ever really happen. I doubt we will ever see that. And I think kind of exactly what one of my friends, Epic Energy, y'all know Epic, has said. I feel like they're going to use DLCs and expansions to boost up the other classes instead, which I still just don't think is the right thing to do. I think it's better, since the game is in this early state, to kind of rework the character real fast, at least just changing, again, the class feat and how it works. Because, again, that'll probably be a little bit healthier. I mean, again, if you want to change the way spell weaving works, keep all the other power within the tree itself, I think that would be a good compromise and might help out. But spell weaving, spell stacks, it's too gross. Thanks so much for stopping by this video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this, doing chaos runs with people and doing different builds and whatnot over on my Twitch channel. So you can follow me over on twitch.tv/Byrdman778, starting every single day, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. Again, I really like doing a lot of these chaos chambers and kind of just vibing out with people in chat. So definitely swing on by. And other things you can do to help us out is definitely leaving a thumbs up on this video and subscribing to the channel, maybe becoming a member. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff here soon. Clawbringer right around the corner. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter, twitter.com/Byrdman778 for updates on the channel, and to know whenever my G Fuel code is 30% off. Typically it's 10, usually 30. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.